Hello, everyone. Tonight, we begin with a question about how a thriving civilization, the Maya, could vanish into the jungle, leaving their towering pyramids to whisper secrets. Could you uncover their mystery? You're standing in the heart of Tikal, a Maya city in the Guatemalan lowlands. The limestone pyramids rising like ancient giants through the dense jungle, their weathered steps bathed in the glow of a starlit sky. The air's humid, heavy with the scent of damp earth and blooming orchids, the canopy above alive with the chirps of tree frogs and the distant growl of a jaguar. Let's be honest, you might not stay awake for this jungle journey, but the Maya built wonders that would stir your dreams. Before you snuggle into your blanket, hit like on the video and comment where you're watching from and what time it is. There, it's so fun to know who's joining us from around the world. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum. And let's ease into tonight's journey together. You're stepping closer. The jungle floor, soft with moss beneath your bare feet. The pyramid stones cool as you brush your hand along a carved stela, its glyphs glowing faintly under the stars. The Maya civilization, at its peak, from 250 to 900 CE, built cities like Tikal Palenque and Chichen Itza, their pyramids, ball courts, and observatories, a testament to their genius. Yet by the 10th century, many centers mysteriously collapsed, leaving ruins reclaimed by the jungle. Mainstream history debates their disappearance, drought warfare, or societal collapse supported by evidence like pollen records showing deforestation. You tilt your head back, stars like Venus blazing above their patterns, a map the Maya used to track time as seen in their codices. Imagine losing your way in this endless green, daunting, isn't it? Here's the quirky tidbit. Some Maya legends claim their astronomers could hear the stars' movements, pressing their ears to obsidian mirrors to sense celestial shifts. Picture Kinich, a young scribe with an obsidian blade at his belt, trying it now, his ear against a polished stone, eyes half closed as he listens. The stars hum, he murmurs, almost to himself. Historians still argue whether this was ritual or astronomy. Could you really hear Venus's path? Yet the Maya tracked celestial cycles with precision, so maybe Kinich's mirror caught a whisper of cosmic truth. You're circling the plaza, its limestone expanse, framed by pyramids, their steps etched with jaguar motifs, a testament to the Maya's reverence for the jungle's spirits. The astronomers, if they stood here, were skywatchers, their minds holding charts no codex could fully capture. Ixchel, a priestess with a jade necklace, kneels nearby. Her hum, a ritual chant as she traces a glyph on a stela marking Venus's rise. Her calm steadies Kinich, who's scratching a star shape into a clay tablet, his blade glinting as he learns. The gods guide us, she says, her voice like the jungle's breath. You try listening to the stars, ear pressed to a stone, but it's a riddle wrapped in night. Picture holding Ixchel's jade necklace. How does its cool weight feel? Balaam, an elder astronomer, leans on his cacao staff, watching Kinich with a weathered smile. The sky's a teacher boy, but a silent one, he says, his tone half jest. The jungle's chorus raps you frogs, howler monkeys, a rustling leaf. The villagers' murmurs like a temple rite, their cotton tunics rustling as they prepare for a ritual. Building Tikal wasn't just labor, it was devotion to God, stars, and earth, a bond you'll soon explore. The villagers point at a low star, maybe Jupiter, marking a sacred cycle. Kinich hesitates, then points to, earning Ixchel's nod. Good, she says, her necklace glinting. You're starting to feel their world, not just a city, but a quest, chasing a mystery lost to time. The stars shine brighter, the jungles hum deeper, and you settle onto the moss, the night rocking like a cradle, ready to unearth the Maya's secrets. One celestial whisper at a time. You're still in the heart of Tikal, the ancient Maya city, but you've wandered from the limestone plaza to the edge of a sacred cenote, its deep turquoise waters shimmering below a jagged limestone rim framed by the jungle's emerald canopy. The air's humid, thick with the scent of wet earth and blooming orchids, a faint mist rising from the cenote as the dawn's first light filters through the trees, casting dappled shadows on the mossy ground beneath your bare feet. You're not just standing, you're feeling the jungle's pulse, the same connection to water that might have sustained the Maya through their rise and fall. Can you sense the cenote's ancient whispers? Mainstream history notes that the Maya, thriving from 250 to 900 CE, revered cenotes as sacred portals to the underworld, with archaeological finds like jade offerings and human remains in cenotes at Chichen Itza suggesting their ritual importance, especially during droughts. You're picturing Ixchel now, the priestess from before her jade necklace, swaying as she kneels at the cenote's edge, her fingers trailing the water to feel its sacred flow, her eyes half closed in reverence. Their connection to water wasn't just survival, it was spiritual, a lifeline to the rain god Chaak, whose favor meant maize and life. You try it, dip your hand into the cool water, let its ripples hum through your fingers. Every current tells a story. A steady flow might mean Chaak's blessing. A sudden stillness could warn of drought. It's as if the cenote's murmuring its secrets, but only to those who kneel to listen. Here's the quirky tidbit. Some Maya myths claim priests could taste a cenote's water to divine Chaak's mood. A fresher taste, signaling rain, a bitter one drought. Kinich is trying it now, dipping a finger and tasting the water, his obsidian blade glinting at his belt, his face scrunching as he mutters, "It's sharp like a cacao gone bad." Historians still argue whether this was practical or symbolic. Could you really taste a God's will? Yet the Maya survived in a region with no rivers, so maybe Kinich's tongue held a droplet of divine truth. You're kneeling beside the cenote, the jungle's chorus howler monkeys, macaws, blending with Ixchel's soft chant, her jade necklace a steady rhythm as she rises, offering a maize kernel to the water, a gift to Chaak. The cenote speaks, she tells Kinich, who scratches a wave glyph onto his clay tablet, his blade steady despite his grimace. You recall the plain's pulse at Stonehenge, but this feels deeper tied to the jungle's lifeblood. The Maya revered water, named cenotes, like temple gods, each with a spirit. A steady flow meant abundance. A drying pool signaled famine. You dip your hand again, hoping for Chaak's favor, but it's just cool and still. Picture cupping the cenote's water. How does its sacred weight feel? Balaam, the astronomer, watches from a nearby root, his cacao staff tapping the earth. Water tests the faithful, he says, half joking, but you feel the depth of his words. The villagers' murmurs weave with the jungle's hum, Kinich sketching a cenote's ripple on his tablet, capturing its shape as if to hold Chaak's voice. Ixchel points to a faint ripple, a fish breaking the surface, and says, "That's his sign." You try sensing it, but it's like reading a codex in the dark. They watched for water signs too. Frog's croaks, a heron's flight, jade green algae. Spot a floating leaf. Rain might come perhaps in a day. You're starting to see the jungle as they did, not wild but alive, every ripple a clue. Brand's flint carvings come to mind, but Kinich's glyph feels different, urgent, as if he's writing Tikal's next chapter. Suddenly, a macaw screeches overhead, its scarlet wings flashing against the dawn, and the villagers stir. Ixchel's chant, rising her jade necklace, a beacon as she scatters more maize. Kinich gasps, nearly dropping his tablet, and Balaam nods his staff steady. Chak listens, he says, but don't shout back. You chuckle, imagining a bard's jest. Ignore the cenote's song, and you'll thirst with the jaguars. The jungle stretches its secrets, unfolding, and you settle onto the moss, trusting these Maya Ixchel's sacred offering, Kenich's glyph, to guide you closer to their story, one watery whisper at a time. You're still in the ancient Maya city of Tikal, but you've left the cenote's edge and now stand at the base of a towering limestone pyramid, its steep steps rising like a stairway to the heavens, the jungle's emerald canopy framing its peak against a misty dawn sky. The air's humid thick, with the scent of damp stone and blooming orchids, a faint mist clinging to the pyramid's weathered glyphs as the first golden rays of sunlight pierce the canopy, illuminating jaguar carvings on the steps. You're clutching a woven grass mat, your bare feet gripping the cool limestone as you climb, marveling at the ingenuity that raised this monument to the Maya gods. Can you feel the pyramid's ancient power beneath you? Mainstream history confirms that the Maya, thriving from 250 to 900 CE, built monumental pyramids like Tikal's Temple 1 around 700 CE using limestone blocks quarried locally, as evidenced by tool marks and construction ramps found in archaeological surveys. You're climbing the steps now, each one a labor of hundreds. Villagers hauling blocks with vines, shaping them with obsidian tools, their chants echoing through the jungle. Ixchel, her jade necklace glinting, stands at the summit, her arms raised in a morning hymn to the sun god, Kenich Ajah, her voice a steady pulse. It touches the sky. She says, her tone reverent. You're awestruck, picturing the effort tribes uniting, stacking stones over decades, their devotion as enduring as the solstice rites you felt at Stonehenge. Here's the quirky tidbit. Some Maya tales claim builders marked pyramids with sun shadows, carving glyphs where the solstice sun's shadow fell to honor Kenich Ajah. Kenich, his obsidian blade at his belt, is tracing one, now scratching a faint jaguar glyph on a step with a flint tool, muttering, "The sun must see it." Historians still argue whether this was ritual or engineering. Could a shadow guide a temple's rise? But Tikal's pyramids align with solar events, so maybe Kenich's glyph caught a ray of divine intent. You're ascending higher, the steps slick with mist, your breath quickening as the jungle stretches below, a sea of green, dotted with other pyramids, their peaks piercing the canopy like stone islands. Building one took generations, quarrying limestone, hauling it with palm fiber ropes, setting each block with precision, all while chanting to the gods. Balaam, his cacao staff tapping a step, watches Kenich with a nod. The pyramid's a prayer, he says, and we're its voice. You try carving a line with a borrowed flint, but it slips, and a villager Yakskin with a scarred hand laughs, "Carve like that, and the gods will sleep." His jest stings, but you smile, picturing your own clumsy efforts at a craft. The pyramid's summit nears its temple chamber, a shadowed haven, and you feel the structure's weight, each step a testament to hands that carved a city from the jungle, much like the bluestone you shaped at Stonehenge. Ixchel's chant rises, her jade necklace swaying, urging the sun to bless the temple. Her voice a beacon as the light strikes the summit. Kenich, his blade glinting, adds a final stroke to his glyph, his nerves eased by the task. You're breathless. The view, jungle pyramids, a distant cenote, unveiling Tikal's grandeur, a city alive with devotion. Picture running your hand along the steps' jaguar carving. How does its ancient stone feel? Balaam's chanting now, a hymn of a builder who touched the sky, his voice weaving pride. Sing it, he urges, and you hum your voice, a shy thread. Suddenly, a macaw's screech echoes, its scarlet wings flashing above the canopy, and the villagers pause, Kinich nearly dropping his flint, his glyph half finished. Ixchel's chant sharpens her hand steady on his shoulder, guiding him to complete the jaguar's eye. The gods watch, she says, her voice firm, and the macaw circles the pyramid, a sign of approval. You're caught in their reverence. The pyramid, a bridge to the divine, its rise, a testament to the Maya's genius. The dawn brightens the jungle's chorus swelling, and you settle on a step, trusting this creation. Kinich's careful glyph, Ixchel's sacred hymn, to unveil the Maya's story, one limestone step at a time. You're still in the ancient Maya city of Tikal. Perched atop the limestone pyramid, you climb the cool stone of the summit temple beneath your bare feet, its jaguar glyphs glowing faintly under the twilight sky. The jungle canopy stretches below a dark emerald sea, alive with the chirps of macaws and the distant howl of a monkey, while stars like Venus blaze above their light, piercing the velvet night. You're standing beside a carved altar, gazing upward as the Maya might have, imagining their astronomers using the sky as a celestial calendar to mark time and divine the gods' will. You're about to trace the cosmic patterns that guided their world, a starry map etched in the heavens. Can you feel the stars' ancient rhythm? Mainstream history confirms that the Maya flourishing from 250 to 900 CE were master astronomers, with structures like Tikal's Temple II aligned to track Venus and equinoxes, as evidenced by codices like the Dresden Codex, which charted celestial cycles with precision. You're watching Venus now, its bright arc rising in the east, a beacon the Maya called the morning star, linked to war and renewal in their calendars. Balaam, the elder astronomer, stands beside you, his cacao staff tapping the stone, pointing to Venus with a steady hand, his voice a low hum. It marks the cycle of rebirth, he tells Kinich, who's sketching its path on a clay tablet, his obsidian blade glinting at his belt. You try picturing the sky as they did a living codex, where Venus signaled planting Sirius marked harvests, a cosmic dance, but miss a step and the maze fails. Here's the quirky tidbit. Some Maya myths claim astronomers could smell a star's influence, believing Venus's rise carried a scent like burnt cacao, a sign of its power. Kinich is sniffing the air now, his tablet trembling, murmuring. It's sharp, like fire. Historians still argue whether this was symbolic or sensory. Could you really smell a star's will? But the Maya timed their rituals with Venus's cycles, so perhaps Kinich's nose caught a whiff of celestial truth. You're swaying with the jungle's rhythm. The stars glow, blending with Ixchel's soft chant from below her jade necklace, a faint shimmer as she prays in the plaza, her hymn to the moon goddess weaving with Balaam's lesson. The stars are our codex. Balaam tells Kinich, who scratches a Venus glyph, his blade steady despite his curiosity. You recall the solstice sun at Stonehenge, but this feels more intricate, tied to the Maya's 260-day Tzolk'in calendar, a cycle of stars and gods. They track dozens of celestial bodies, Venus for war, the Pleiades for rain, each arc a sacred verse. You try following Venus's path, but it's like reading a codex in the dark. Picture tracing its light with your gaze. How does its steady glow feel? Balaam's staff points to the Pleiades, his voice firm. The sky's a guide, and we're its scribes. The villagers' chants rise from the plaza, a soft hymn to the night, their cotton tunics catching torchlight as they gather for a ritual, their voices a chorus of devotion. Kinich stumbles on the Pleiades arc, and Balaam kneels beside him, his cacao staff a steady rhythm. Again, he says, his tone patient. Kiinich tries voice steadier, reciting a cycle that marks the maize harvest. You're caught in the lesson teacher and student stars, and stone aright as old as Tikal itself. Suddenly, a shooting star streaks across the sky, its arc mirroring Venus's path, and the villagers gasp, Kiinich nearly dropping his tablet. Ichel's chant swells her voice, a beacon from below, and Balaam nods his staff steady. A sign he declares, his voice firm, and Kiinich sketches faster, emboldened. You think back to the pyramid's rise. Its steps a partner to this sky, watching the Maya's ingenuity, a bridge to the cosmos. The stars shine brighter, the jungles hum, a steady pulse, and you feel their trust, not just in Kiinich, but in the sky itself, a celestial guide for a thriving world. You settle onto the temple's edge, the night wrapping you like a cloak, trusting this astronomy, Kiinich's eager glyph. Balaam's sacred lesson to unveil the Maya's story, one starry path at a time. You're still atop the limestone pyramid in Tikal, but the twilight has deepened into a starlit night. The jungle's emerald canopy below, now a shadowed sea, alive with the chirps of macaws and the rustle of nocturnal creatures. The air's humid, scented with damp stone and blooming orchids, torchlight flickering across the summit temple's jaguar glyphs, casting dancing shadows on the walls. You hear a soft murmur and turn to see Kiinich, the young scribe, kneeling beside Balaam, the elder astronomer, his cacao staff resting against the altar, as he gestures to a clay tablet, teaching the boy the sacred glyphs of the Maya. This is no ordinary night. You're witnessing a lesson in Maya knowledge where a scribe learns the secrets that might unlock their world's mysteries. Can you feel the weight of Kiinich's initiation? Mainstream history notes that the Maya, flourishing from 250 to 900 CE, recorded their knowledge in glyphs on stelae and codices, with scribes trained from youth to preserve astronomy history and rituals as evidenced by surviving texts like the Madrid Codex. You're watching Kiinich now, his obsidian blade at his belt, his brow furrowed as he repeats Balaam's chant, each verse naming a glyph jaguar for strength, Venus for war that tells Tikal's story. Balaam's staff, carved with moon phases, taps the stone, his voice gravelly but patient. The glyphs are our voice, he says, and you must speak for the gods. You wince, recalling your own struggles with simpler tasks, perhaps writing a letter, not carving a city's fate in stone. This is no mere lesson. It's a sacred duty, etched into history. Here's the quirky tidbit. Some Maya tales claim scribes learned glyphs by dreaming them sleeping near sacred stelae to receive visions from the gods. Kiinich mutters about it now, his fingers tracing a jaguar glyph on his tablet, whispering, "I saw Chaak in my sleep last night." Historians still argue whether this was spiritual or symbolic. Could dreams guide a scribe's hand? But the Maya's glyphs endured, so maybe Kiinich's vision held a spark of divine ink. You're standing closer. The torchlights crackle, blending with Balaam's chant, his cacao staff, a steady rhythm as Ichel joins from the plaza. Below her, jade necklace, glinting in the starlight, her hum weaving with his lesson. She's watching Kiinich, her eyes warm but firm. Feel the glyph's spirit, she tells him, her voice a gentle guide. Kiinich presses his blade to the tablet, carving a Venus glyph, his hands trembling but determined. You're impressed, but also awed. Your own memory falters at words, let alone sacred symbols. Balaam points to a macaw, perched on the temple's edge, its scarlet feathers vivid. "It heralds the gods," he says. You squint, wondering if you'd mistake it for a trick of the night. Picture holding Kiinich's clay tablet. How does its carved weight feel? The villagers' chants rise from the plaza, a low hum echoing the stars, their cotton tunics catching torchlight as they prepare a ritual, their voices a chorus of devotion. Kinich stumbles on the jaguar glyph, and Ixchel kneels beside him, her jade necklace brushing the stone. Again, she says, her tone encouraging. He tries his carving, steadier, reciting a glyph that marks a king's reign. You're caught in the moment, teacher and student, stone and sky, a lesson as old as Tikal's pyramids. Suddenly, a gust sweeps the summit, the torch flaring, and the macaw takes flight, its wings a scarlet blur against the night. The villagers pause, Kinich's blade slipping as he gasps, but Balaam's staff steadies him. The gods listen, Balaam says, his voice firm, and Kinich carves deeper, emboldened. You think back to the pyramid's rise, its steps a testament to the Maya's unity now echoed in this lesson, the glyphs a bridge to their past. The stars shine brighter, the jungles hum, a steady pulse, and you feel their trust, not just in Kinich, but in the glyphs themselves. A written voice for a thriving world. You settle onto the temple's edge, the night wrapping you like a cloak, trusting this initiation. Kinich's trembling hand, Balaam's ancient wisdom to unveil the Maya's story, one sacred glyph at a time. You're now standing in the shadowed chamber of a Tikal temple, high atop the limestone pyramid, the cool stone beneath your bare feet etched with jaguar glyphs that seem to shimmer in the flickering torchlight. The air's humid, heavy with the scent of burnt copal incense and roasted cacao, a faint jungle breeze slipping through the chamber's narrow openings, carrying the distant chirps of macaws. You're holding a clay cup of cacao, its bitter warmth tingling on your lips as you join a ritual led by Ixchel, the priestess, her jade necklace glinting as she pours an offering to the gods, her voice a reverent chant. You're about to feel the spiritual weight of Maya devotion, where cacao and incense bridge the mortal and divine. Can you sense the gods' watchful presence? Mainstream history confirms that the Maya flourishing from 250 to 900 CE held cacao rituals as sacred offerings, with archaeological finds of cacao residue in vessels at sites like Copan, showing its use in ceremonies to honor gods, like Chayak, the rain deity. You're watching Ixchel now. Her cotton tunic dyed a deep indigo as she pours cacao into a carved stone basin. Her chant invoking Chayak's favor for the coming rains, her movements precise as the villagers kneel around her. Balaam, the astronomer, stands nearby, his cacao staff raised, adding a hymn to the maize god, his voice a deep rumble that echoes off the chamber's walls. You're caught in the ritual's gravity, the incense smoke curling like a prayer, a connection to the divine as potent as the solstice dance at Stonehenge. Here's the quirky tidbit some Maya myths claim. Cacao spoke to the gods, its steam carrying prayers directly to the heavens, a belief passed down through oral tradition. Kinich, his obsidian blade at his belt, watches the steam, now his clay tablet trembling as he whispers, "It's their voice." Historians still argue whether this was symbolic or spiritual. Could steam carry a prayer? But the Maya timed rituals with celestial events, so perhaps Kinich's steam held a whisper of divine dialogue. You're sipping the cacao, its bitterness grounding you, the villagers' chants blending with the jungle's hum, their cotton tunics catching the torchlight as they bow their heads, offering maize kernels beside the basin. Ixchel's jade necklace sways her chant, weaving the gods' names, Chak, Kinich, Aja, the moon goddess, into a plea for abundance, her voice a steady thread tying earth to sky. The god's thirst, she tells Kinich, who scratches a maze glyph on his tablet, his blade steady despite the incense's heady haze. You try joining the chant, but the words are a mystery, like a song half heard. Picture holding the clay cup closer. How does its warm cacao feel on your lips? Balaam's staff taps the stone, his voice firm. The gods listen, but they demand. The ritual deepens. Eggshell scattering copal resin onto a brazier, the smoke rising in thick curls, her jade necklace a beacon as she kneels, her chant swelling to honor the ancestors. Kinich mimics her placing a maize kernel in the basin, his hands trembling but reverent, learning the rite's weight. You're struck by the ceremony's power, a connection to the divine in the past, much like the synode offering you witnessed. The villagers' voices rise a chorus of devotion, and you hum along, your voice a shy thread, feeling the chamber's energy wrap you a sacred bond to the gods who shaped Maya life. Suddenly, a gust sweeps through the chamber, the brazier flaring, and the smoke swirls upward, spiraling toward the ceiling, as if answering Ichel's plea. The villagers gasp, Kinich nearly dropping his tablet, his blade glinting as he stares at the steam. Chak hears he cries, and Balaam nods, his cacao staff steady. The gods accept, he says, his voice firm, and Ichel's chant softens her eyes on the smoke, a sign of divine favor. You're caught in their faith. The temple a bridge to the gods, its rituals a testament to the Maya's devotion. You think back to the pyramid's rise, its steps now a partner to this offering. The stars outside brighten the jungle's hum, a steady pulse. And you settle against the stone, trusting this rite, Kinich's eager offering, Ixchel's sacred chant, to unveil the Maya's story, one divine breath at a time. You're now standing in the sunlit plaza of Tikal, the limestone expanse stretching beneath your bare feet, its warm surface etched with faint glyphs of jaguars and maize, the towering pyramids framing the space like sentinels under a midday sky. The air's humid, buzzing with the scent of crushed orchids and the faint tang of obsidian dust, a gentle breeze stirring the jungle's emerald canopy as the chatter of villagers fills the plaza, their cotton tunics dyed indigo and ochre. You're clutching an obsidian blade, its sharp edge cool in your palm as you help carve a stela, joining the Maya artisans whose tools shaped their history in stone. You're about to explore the craftsmanship that immortalized their world, a testament to their skill and devotion. Can you feel the stone's ancient story under your blade? Mainstream history confirms that the Maya, thriving from 250 to 900 CE, carved intricate stelae to record history and honor rulers, with archaeological finds at Tikal showing limestone blocks incised with glyphs using obsidian tools, often depicting kings and celestial events. You're striking the stela now, the obsidian blade chipping away slivers of limestone, each stroke a sharp echo as villagers work beside you, their tunics dusted with white powder. Ixchel oversees the task, her jade necklace glinting as she guides a glyph's curve. With a steady hand, her chant to the maize god a low hum. The stone speaks our story, she says, her voice calm but firm. You're awestruck, picturing the effort artisans carving for days, their tools sparking with each strike, a rhythm as sacred as the cacao ritual you witnessed in the temple. Here's the quirky tidbit. Some Maya tales claim artisans sang to the stone, believing a specific chant would make it yield more easily to their blades. Kanich is trying it now, his obsidian blade at the ready, his voice a shaky hum as he carves a jaguar glyph, muttering. It listens to the song. Historians still argue whether this was practical or spiritual. Could a chant soften stone? But Tikal's stelae stand as masterpieces, so maybe Kinich's song held a spark of ancient craft. You're working alongside the villagers, the obsidian blade heavy in your hand, its strikes sending vibrations up your arm, as limestone dust scatters like fallen stars. Carving one stela took weeks. Obsidian blades, chert chisels, and endless patience, all guided by chance like Ixchel's, Balaam his cacao. Staff, tapping the ground, watches Kinich with a nod. The stone's a codex, he says, and we're its scribes. You try carving a line, but the blade slips, and Yaxkin, the scarred villager, chuckles. Cut like that, and you'll carve a monkey instead. His jest stings, but you smile, imagining your own clumsy efforts at a task. The stela takes shape, its jaguar glyph emerging a testament to the villagers' skill, their hands as precise as the star paths you traced with Balaam. Ixchel's chant rises, her jade necklace swaying, urging the stone to accept its story. A king's victory, a Venus cycle, her voice a beacon in the plaza's buzz. Kinich, his blade glinting, adds a final stroke. His nerves eased by the task. You're impressed, but your arm aches from the blade's weight. Picture running your fingers over the glyph's fresh edge. How does its smooth limestone feel? The sun climbs higher, its heat a blessing on the labor. And you recall the pyramid's rise, its steps a partner to this carving. Balaam's chanting now, a hymn of an artisan who carved the sky's will, his voice weaving pride. Sing it, he urges, and you hum your voice, a shy thread. Suddenly, a shadow crosses the plaza. A jaguar, its spotted coat flashing at the jungle's edge, its growl low as it eyes the villagers. They pause Kinich's blade, hesitating, and Ixchel's chant sharpens her jade necklace, a beacon as she scatters maize on the ground, an offering to the jungle spirit. Chak protects, she says, her voice firm, and the jaguar retreats, its eyes glinting like stars. You're caught in their reverence. The stela, a testament to hands that shaped history, their craft enduring. The sun shines brighter, the plaza's energy, a steady pulse, and you settle onto the limestone, trusting this work. Kinich's careful glyph, Ixchel's sacred chant to unveil the Maya's story. One carved stroke at a time, you're still in the sunlit plaza of Tikal, the limestone expanse beneath your bare feet, now dusted with fine stone chips from the stela you helped carve, their sharp scent mingling with the fading orchids in the humid air. The sky, once a clear blue, has turned a menacing gray. The sun swallowed by heavy clouds as a searing heat grips the jungle, the canopy wilting under a merciless drought. You're clutching a woven grass basket of maize, its kernels dry and brittle, as the villagers' murmurs turn to anxious whispers, their cotton tunics clinging with sweat. You're about to face a drought that threatens to cause lifeblood, the jungle withering as the Maya struggle to survive. Can you feel the weight of their desperation? Mainstream history suggests that the Maya, flourishing from 250 to 900 CE, faced severe droughts during their collapse, with paleoclimate data from lake sediments in the Yucatan showing prolonged dry periods around 800 to 900 CE, likely contributing to crop failures and societal stress. You're watching the villagers now, their faces etched with worry as they ration maize their baskets. Nearly empty, the once lush jungle browning at the edges, leaves curling like parchment. Ixchel, her jade necklace dull in the gray light, stands at the plaza's center, chanting a plea to Chaak, the rain god. Her voice strained as she scatters maize onto the ground, an offering for rain. You're caught in the tension, the air crackling with a dry heat, the drought a silent threat to the city. You've come to know its pyramids looming like mourners, Here's the quirky tidbit. Some Maya myths claim priests could taste the air's dryness, a bitter tang signaling Chak's anger, a belief passed down through oral tradition. Kinich is trying it now, his obsidian blade at his belt, licking his lips as he grimaces, muttering, "It's like ash." Historians still argue whether this was symbolic or sensory. Could you really taste a drought's wrath? But the Maya's collapse coincided with such dry spells, so perhaps Kinich's taste held a bitter truth. You're holding the basket tighter, the maize kernels slipping through your fingers. The villagers' chants, a desperate hum as they gather around Ixchel, their tunics faded with dust. Balaam, his cacao staff planted in the earth, joins her. His voice, a deep rumble, chanting to the maize god for mercy, his eyes scanning the sky for any sign of clouds. "The gods test us," he says, half joking. But the villagers' silence speaks of fear, their hands clutching empty baskets. You try tasting the air, but it's just heat and dust, a dryness that chokes. Picture holding a brittle maize kernel. How does its cracked surface feel? You're weary, but Ixchel's resolve steadies you. Her chant, a lifeline in the stifling air. The villagers kneel their chants, growing frantic, you among them. Your voice, a shaky thread in their plea. The jungle's usual chorus, macaws, monkeys, eerily silent. The drought's grip tightening. Ixchel scatters more maize, her jade necklace swaying, her chant rising to a crescendo as she offers a turquoise bead to the earth, a desperate plea for Chak's favor. Kinich Pale scratches a rain glyph on his clay tablet, his blade trembling, but determined, learning the cost of the god's silence. You're struck by the ritual's urgency, a stark contrast to the cacao offering in the temple. This plea a fight for survival, much like the storm you endured at Stonehenge. Suddenly, a hot wind surges through the plaza, fiercer than before, stirring dust into a choking cloud, and a tree at the jungle's edge cracks its wilted branches, crashing to the ground. The villagers gasp, Kinich nearly dropping his tablet, his blade glinting as he shields his face. Chak is angry. He cries, and Balaam's staff steadies him, his voice firm. "We must endure." Ixchel's chant sharpens her hand, steady on Kinich's shoulder, guiding him to add a maize glyph, her jade necklace, a beacon in the dust. The wind dies down, but the sky remains gray. The drought unrelenting, a harbinger of Tikal's fate. You're caught in their struggle. The pyramids, a silent witness to their plea, their resilience enduring. You think back to the cenote's waters, their sacred flow now, a distant hope. The jungle's silence deepens the plaza's tension, a heavy shroud, and you settle onto the stone, trusting their faith. Kinich's desperate glyph, Ixchel's sacred plea to carry the Maya through one parched breath at a time. You're still in the heart of Tikal, the ancient Maya city. But the sunlit plaza has given way to a moonlit jungle, clearing just beyond the pyramids, the limestone expanse now replaced by a tangle of vines and roots under your bare feet, their damp texture slick with night dew. The air's humid, heavy with the scent of wet earth and the sharp musk of jaguars, the canopy above a shadowed vault pierced by a full moon's silver glow, casting eerie light on the villagers' tense faces. You're clutching a woven grass mat, heart pounding, as shouts and the clash of spears echo through the trees. A rival city's warriors, their obsidian blades flashing, have launched a sudden attack, threatening Tikal's fragile survival amidst the drought. You're about to witness a Maya battle where conflict deepens the cracks of a faltering civilization. Can you feel the fury of their clash? Mainstream history suggests that the Maya, during their decline around 800 to 900 CE, faced increasing warfare between city-states like Tikal and Calakmul, with evidence of burned structures and mass graves indicating violent conflicts, likely exacerbated by resource scarcity from droughts like the one you endured. You're caught in the chaos now. The villagers' cotton tunics torn as they wield spears, their faces painted with red ochre, a war cry rising as they defend their city. Kinich, his obsidian blade no longer at his belt, but in his hand, fights beside a warrior named Yaxkin, his scarred hands gripping a spear, shouting for Tikal. You're half convinced you're in a codex's grim tale, the moonlight glinting off blades, the jungle alive with the clash of war. A stark contrast to the sacred rites you've witnessed. Here's the quirky tidbit. Some Maya legends claim warriors could smell an enemy's approach. A bitter tang of fear sweat carried on the wind, a belief whispered in oral histories. Yaxkin sniffs the air, now his spear raised, growling. They're close. I smell their fear. Historians still argue whether this was heightened senses or superstition. Could you really smell an ambush? But Maya warfare was brutal. So maybe Yaxkin's nose caught a whiff of impending danger. You're dodging through the undergrowth, the grass mat slipping from your hands as a rival warrior in a jaguar pelt headdress lunges his obsidian blade, slashing the air, forcing you to duck behind a ceiba tree, its roots a tangled shield. Ixchel, her jade necklace glinting in the moonlight, rallies the villagers from a nearby ridge. Her chant to Uk-Ulkan, the feathered serpent god, a fierce plea for protection. Her voice cutting through the battle's din. Hold the line, she calls her authority, a beacon as she hurls a spear, her necklace swaying with each move. You try joining the chant, but fear chokes your voice. The clash of spears a deafening storm. Picture gripping a fallen spear. How does its wooden shaft feel in your trembling hands? You're shaken, but Ixchel's courage steadies you, her chant a lifeline in the chaos. The villagers fight back their spears, clashing with the rivals, you among them. Your voice, a ragged thread in their war cry. The jungle's usual chorus, macaws, monkeys silenced by the violence. The drought's strain, now a spark for war. Balam, his cacao staff, raised as a makeshift weapon, joins the fray. His voice, a deep roar as he defends Kinich, chanting to the war god, Buluk Chabtan for strength, his staff cracking against an enemy shield. Kinich, blood streaking his face, swings his blade, his clay tablet long lost in the fight, his scribe's hands now a warrior's, his fear swallowed by fury. You're struck by the battle's intensity, a stark contrast to the stela carving in the plaza. This fight, a desperate bid for survival. Much like the storm at Stonehenge, suddenly, a rival warrior charges his jaguar headdress, snarling, and a spear grazes Yaxkin's arm. His blood splattering the vines as he falls back, shouting, "They're too many." The villagers waver, Kinich stumbling, his blade slipping, and you grab his arm, pulling him behind a tree as arrows fly, their obsidian tips thudding into the trunk. Ixchel's chant peaks her jade necklace, a beacon, as she throws maize into the air. A final offering, her voice a war cry. Kukulkan strike. Lightning cracks a storm breaking at last, and the rivals falter their retreat, a desperate scramble through the rain. You're caught in their resolve. The jungle, a battlefield of faith and survival, their legacy enduring. You think back to the cenotes waters, their sacred flow. Now, a distant hope in this war. The rain falls harder, the jungle's roar returning, and you settle against the tree, trusting their fight. Kainich's fierce blade Ixchel's sacred plea to carry the Maya through one battled breath at a time. You're still in the jungle, clearing near Tikal, the rain from the storm you survived. Now, a steady drizzle soaking the mossy ground beneath your bare feet, its earthy scent mingling with the acrid tang of blood and crushed vines from the battle's aftermath. The moon's silver glow filters through the canopy, casting faint light on the villagers' weary faces, their cotton tunics torn and streaked with mud, their spears resting as they tend to the wounded. You're clutching a woven grass mat heart, still racing when Ixchel the priestess steps forward. Her jade necklace glinting, her arms raised in a desperate ritual under the stormy sky, leading a prayer to avert the god's wrath after the rival city's attack. You're about to feel the spiritual weight of her leadership guiding Tikal through its darkest hour. Can you sense the urgency of her plea? Mainstream history suggests that during the Maya decline, around 800 to 900 CE cities like Tikal faced not only warfare, but also environmental crises, with evidence of increased rituals such as bloodletting and offerings found in stelae and ceramics, indicating desperate attempts to appease gods like Chayak amidst drought and conflict. You're watching Ixchel now, her indigo tunic drenched, leading the villagers in a circle around a small altar of limestone, her chant to Kukulkan, the feathered serpent god, a fierce plea for protection, her voice cutting through the rain's patter. Balaam, his cacao staff planted in the mud, joins her, his deep voice invoking the maize god for renewal, his eyes scanning the sky for a sign. You're caught in the ritual's intensity. The jungle's shadows a stark contrast to the sunlit plaza where you carved the stela. This prayer, a fight for survival. Here's the quirky tidbit. Some Maya beliefs held that priestesses could taste the rain's purity during rituals, a sweeter flavor, signaling the god's favor, a tradition whispered in oral histories. Kainich, his obsidian blade bloodied from battle, catches rain on his tongue. Now, his clay tablet lost in the fight, murmuring, "It's bitter. They're still angry." Historians still argue whether this was symbolic or sensory. Could rain reveal divine will? But the Mayas' rituals intensified during their decline. So perhaps Kainich's taste held a drop of sacred truth. You're kneeling with the villagers, their chants a desperate hum. You among them, your voice a shaky thread in their plea. The rain soaking your tunic as the jungle's usual chorus, macaws, monkeys, remains muted, the storm's echo lingering. Ixchel scatters maize kernels onto the altar, her jade necklace swaying her chant, rising to a crescendo as she offers a turquoise bead, her voice a lifeline in the darkness. "Kukulkan, shield us," she cries, her hands trembling, but resolute, the villagers echoing her plea, their tunics clinging with mud and rain. You try tasting the rain, but it's just cold and sharp, a bitterness that mirrors their fear. Picture holding the turquoise bead. How does its cool weight feel in your rain-slicked hand? You're shaken, but Ixchel's faith steadies you, her chant a beacon in the storm. The villagers tighten their circle, their chants growing fervent. Balaam, raising his cacao staff higher, his voice a deep roar as he invokes Chaak for rain to end the drought you felt earlier, his staff a symbol of hope amidst the battle's scars. Kainich, blood still streaking his face, kneels beside Yaxkin, whose wounded arm is bound with vines, and offers a maize kernel. His hands steady despite the night's violence, learning the cost of survival through ritual. You're struck by the ceremony's urgency, a plea born of war and drought, a stark contrast to the cacao ritual in the temple. This rite, a desperate bid to heal Tikal's wounds, much like the healing at Stonehenge. Suddenly, lightning cracks again, closer now, illuminating the jungle in a flash. and thunder rumbles, shaking the earth, as if Kukulkan answers. The villagers gasp, Kainich flinching his blade, slipping, and you grab his shoulder, steadying him as rain pours harder, a torrential downpour that feels both blessing and curse. Ixchel's chant peaks her jade necklace, a beacon as she falls to her knees, her voice a war cry. We endure, Balaam's staff points to the sky, his voice firm. The gods hear the storm, rages, but the rain washes the blood away, a sign of mercy or judgment. And you're caught in their resilience. The jungle, a witness to their plea, their faith unyielding. You think back to the cenotes' sacred waters, their flow now mirrored in this rain, a fragile hope. The night deepens the jungle's roar, a steady pulse, and you settle against a vine, trusting this ritual. Kainich's trembling offering Ixchel's sacred chant to carry the Maya through one desperate prayer at a time. You're back in the heart of Tikal, but the moonlit jungle clearing has given way to the bustling marketplace at the city's center. The limestone plaza beneath your bare feet, now scattered with cacao beans and maize kernels, their earthy scent mingling with the tang of copalous incense under a midday sun. The air's humid, alive with the chatter of villagers in cotton tunics dyed indigo and ochre, their voices a vibrant hum as they barter jade beads, obsidian blades, and woven textiles linking Tikal to distant Maya cities. You're holding a small clay pot of cacao, its bitter aroma tempting as you join the trade that binds these tribes in a web of commerce and culture. Can you feel the pulse of their marketplace? Mainstream history confirms that the Maya, thriving from 250 to 900 CE, maintained extensive trade networks across Mesoamerica, with archaeological finds like jade from Guatemala and obsidian from central Mexico at Tikal, evidencing exchange between cities like Calakmul and Copan even during the decline. You're bartering now, offering your cacao pot to Yaxkin, the scarred warrior from the battle, his wounded arm bound with vines, his grin sharp as he trades a jade bead, saying, "For your cacao, friend." Villagers crowd the plaza, their baskets brimming with maize feathers and salt, their laughter weaving with the jungle's distant macaw cries, a vibrant echo of the unity you saw in the village feast at Stonehenge. Here's the quirky tidbit. Some Maya tales claim traders sealed deals with glyph tokens, small clay pieces stamped with a merchant's glyph, to ensure trust, a practice hinted at in oral histories. Kainich is offering one now, his obsidian blade glinting as he stamps a jaguar glyph on a clay piece, handing it to a trader with a shy nod murmuring for the maize. Historians still argue whether this was ritual or commerce. Could a glyph bind a bargain? But trade sustained Tikal, so maybe Kainich's token held a spark of ancient trust. You're weaving through the market, the cacao pot warm in your hands, the villagers barter, a lively dance, maize for salt, jade for quetzal feathers, their voices a chorus of connection, their tunics catching the sun's glare. Ixchel, her jade necklace swaying overseas, a trade of copal incense, her chant blessing the exchange, her voice a steady hum as she ensures fairness, her presence a reminder of the sacred rites you've witnessed. Trade is our blood, she tells Kainich, who scratches a trade glyph on his clay tablet, his blade steady despite the battle's scars. You try bartering for a quetzal feather, but your offer falters. And a trader, a woman named Chamal, laughs, "More cacao, or you'll weave with air." Her jest stings, but you smile, picturing your own clumsy trades. The marketplace thrums children, tossing maize kernels in a game, women weaving textiles, men hauling baskets of salt, their unity a living network, much like the cenotes' sacred flow you felt. Balaam, his cacao staff tapping barters for obsidian, his voice a deep rumble as he haggles with a trader from Calakmul. Their exchange, a fragile peace after the battle you survived. You're struck by the market's role, linking cities even as drought and war loom a testament to the Maya's resilience like the stela carving in the plaza. The villagers' laughter rises their voices, a shared hymn, and you hum along your voice, a shy thread, feeling the warmth of their commerce wrap you like a cloak. Suddenly, a shout erupts a rival trader from Calakmul, his jaguar pelt headdress, a stark reminder of the battle accuses Yaxkin of shorting jade, his hand on an obsidian blade, stirring tension in the plaza. The villagers freeze, Kenich's blade glinting as he steps forward. His glyph token raised, shouting, "We honor our word." You grab his arm, steadying him as Ixchel intervenes. Her jade necklace, a beacon. Her chant cutting through Chayak sees us. The trader relents, the market's peace restored, but the moment lingers a crack in Tikal's unity, a harbinger of decline. You're caught in their resolve. The plaza, a fragile bridge between cities, their trade enduring. You think back to the pyramid's rise. Its steps now a partner to this exchange. The sun shines brighter, the market's energy a steady pulse, and you settle onto a limestone block, trusting this commerce, Kenich's glyph token, Ixchel's sacred chant to unveil the Maya's story, one bartered breath at a time. You're still in the heart of Tikal, but the bustling marketplace has faded, and you're now standing at the edge of the city, the limestone plaza giving way to a shadowed jungle path, its once vibrant canopy now eerily silent, the vines drooping with dust from the drought you endured. The air's heavy, thick with the scent of decaying leaves, and a faint acrid tang of abandonment. The pyramids looming behind you, like mournful giants, their jaguar glyphs weathered and cracked. You're clutching a woven grass mat, the echoes of the market's laughter replaced by a haunting stillness as you gaze at the empty huts of Tikal, their thatched roofs collapsing, the city's life drained like a cenote run dry. You're about to mourn the mysterious decline of the Maya, as their temples fell silent, swallowed by the jungle's creeping embrace. Can you feel the weight of their fading glory? Mainstream history confirms that many Maya cities, including Tikal, were largely abandoned by the 10th century CE, with evidence of depopulation. Empty palaces, unmaintained steles suggesting a collapse driven by drought warfare and societal strain, as seen in sediment cores and skeletal remains showing malnutrition. You're picturing the villagers now, once vibrant with trade, their cotton tunics left in tattered heaps, their voices gone the marketplace, you bartered in a ghost of itself, overtaken by creeping vines. Ixchel, her jade necklace dull, kneels by a crumbling stela, her chant to Chayak, a faint whisper, her voice breaking as she mourns the god's silence. You're caught in the stillness. The jungle's hum muted, a stark contrast to the battle cries you heard Tikal's decline, a slow, silent wound. Silent. Here's the quirky tidbit. Some Maya legends claim the city's stones wept sap as the people left a sign of the god's sorrow, a tale preserved in oral histories of surviving post-classic communities. Kenich, his obsidian blade now rusted at his belt, touches a sarsen sap, his clay tablet long lost murmuring. They cry for us. Historians still argue whether this was poetic or symbolic. Could stones mourn a city's fall? But Tikal's abandonment was real, so perhaps Kenich's sap held a tear of divine grief. You're walking the path, the jungle encroaching its vines, wrapping the stele like a shroud. The once clear plaza, now a tangle of roots. The echoes of Ixchel's chants fading like a half-remembered hymn. The Maya's world wasn't just temples. It was a heartbeat, trade glyphs, rituals binding them to gods and earth, as you felt in the marketplace. But drought and war, like the battle you survived, fractured that bond their cities left to the jungle's mercy. You try humming Ixchel's chant, but it feels fragile, a thread unraveling in the silence. Kynich's hands tremble, his blade still, while a distant macaw's cry, a lone survivor, pierces the quiet, a mournful note. Balaam's wisdom, once a beacon, would be lost here, his cacao staff buried under vines. The jungle remembers you, whisper, half joking, but the silence stings. The few villagers who remain are shadows, their tunics faded, some gathering the last maize, others fleeing south, their fires cold and sparse. Kynich places a maize kernel at the stella's base, a quiet offering to Chaak, a final act of faith amidst the decline, his hands echoing the gestures you saw in the Synode ritual. You're struck by the gesture, a faint echo of the cacao, offering the market's trade tokens, now a plea for survival in a city undone. The jungle's stillness deepens, its pulse muted, and you kneel beside Kynich, touching the stella's sap, searching for its warmth. Picture holding his maize kernel. How does its brittle weight feel? A jaguar's growl echoes in the distance, a reminder of the battle's scars, the jungle reclaiming what the Maya built. Suddenly, a gust sweeps through colder, now stirring dust around the pyramids, and a lone macaw takes flight, its scarlet wings a fading flash against the twilight sky. Kynich flinches, his blade slipping, but he whispers, "They see us still, as if the gods linger in the jungle's depths." The moment passes, but it cuts a glimpse of a world where Tikal's glory fades to myth. You're caught in the ache, yet Kynich's offering, the macaw's flight, hold a flicker of hope. The twilight deepens, the pyramid's shadows merging with the night, and you settle into the vines, trusting these remnants, Kynich's quiet faith, the jungle's enduring hum, to keep the Maya's story alive, one fading whisper at a time. You're still on the edge of Tikal, the ancient Maya city. But the shadowed jungle path has given way to a modern archaeological dig site, the chalky limestone now replaced by a muddy clearing, where the jungle has been carefully parted, revealing the buried remnants of a plaza. The midday sun on May 26, 2025, beats down its heat, mingling with the humid air, thick with the scent of wet earth and crushed ferns, as the distant hum of macaws echoes through the canopy. You're kneeling beside a grid of string and stakes, holding a trowel, its wooden handle smooth in your palm, as you join modern archaeologists, unearthing glyphs and artifacts, reviving the Maya's story from the jungle's grip. You're about to witness this rediscovery, where ancient whispers rise again, and the ruins sing of a lost civilization. Can you feel the thrill of their unearthed secrets? Mainstream history highlights modern archaeological efforts at Tikal, with significant digs since the 1950s, such as those by the University of Pennsylvania, uncovering stele ceramics and burials that date the city's peak to 700 CE and its decline to 900 CE, offering clues to the Maya's mysterious collapse. You're brushing soil now, revealing a jaguar glyph on a stela fragment, its lines mirroring those you carved with Kynich as Mara. A descendant of Ixchel oversees the dig. Her jade necklace, a nod to the priestess. Her voice a steady hum as she notes the find, her notebook scratched with sketches. You grin, feeling the buzz of a modern symposium. This excavation, a bridge to the Maya's world, much like the revival at Stonehenge. Here's the quirky tidbit. Some modern archaeologists use sound glyphs, tapping replica obsidian tools on stelae to test acoustic theories, believing the Maya placed stones to amplify ritual chants. Lyra, echoing Kynich taps, one now, her obsidian blade glinting, listening for a hum murmuring. It echoes like Balaam's hymns. Historians still argue whether this blends science or sentiment. Can a stone amplify a chant? But acoustic studies suggest Tikal's plazas resonated, so maybe Lyra's tap echoes an ancient truth. You're sifting through the soil, the trowel uncovering a clay shard with a maze glyph. Its ochre glaze catching the sun as Mara examines it. Her jade necklace swaying her notes, tying the find to the cacao rituals you witnessed in the temple. This dates their rites, she tells Lyra, who sketches the glyph, her blade scratching a star beside it, a habit Kinich would have smiled at. You try listening for the stella's hum, pressing your ear to the stone, but it's a whisper, like a half-forgotten chant. Picture holding Lyra's clay shard. How does its etched surface feel? The archaeologist's murmurs weave with the jungle's hum, their voices a new hymn to tickle, much like the solstice rite at Stonehenge, but now with tools of science, not faith. The dig site thrums with activity, scholars mapping a post hole, others sifting for bones, their linen tunics a modern echo of the Maya's cotton, their efforts mending time's rift as medieval scribes once buried Stonehenge's story. Mara kneels brushing a ceramic cup, its cacao residue tying her work to the rituals you saw, a healing of another kind, restoring the Maya's voice. You think of Kinich's glyph token in the market, how it kept a spark alive. Now that sparks a flame, excavations uncover ball courts, stelae, and the Maya's lives, much like the village feast at Stonehenge. You chuckle, imagining a bard's jest. Miss a glyph, and you'll dig in a jaguar's den. But here, it's discovery, not ritual. Suddenly, a shout rises. A scholar uncovers a stela fragment. It's glyph of Chak, the rain god mirroring the maize offerings you saw Ixchel make during the drought. The team gathers Lyra's blade glinting as she helps her nerves eased by the find her sketch capturing the god's curling snout. You're caught in their excitement, the jungle's pulse syncing with theirs, as if the Maya themselves whisper through the earth. The pyramids loom closer, their secrets unfolding, and you spot the temple where you learned with Balaam. Its star paths now, a thread to the past. This revival proves the Maya's story never vanished, just slept in stone and memory. You think back to the cenotes, sacred waters, their flow, now mirrored in these unearthed truths. The sun shines brighter, the dig site alive, and you settle into the mud, trusting this quest, Mara's steady notes, Lyra's eager sketch to unveil the Maya's story, one unearthed glyph at a time. You're still at the archaeological dig site near Tikal, the muddy clearing beneath your bare feet, now littered with unearthed clay shards and flint tools, their earthy scent mingling with the humid jungle air as the twilight sky on May 26, 2025, deepens into a soft indigo, streaked with the last hues of a summer sunset. The ancient pyramids loom in the distance, their jaguar glyphs catching the fading light, while a gentle breeze rustles the canopy, carrying the murmur of modern scholars, debating under a canvas tent, their lanterns casting a warm glow. You're sitting on a woven grass mat holding a clay shard with a maze glyph, its etched surface cool in your palm as you ponder the mysterious collapse of the Maya civilization, a riddle that has haunted scholars for centuries. Can you unravel the enigma of their disappearance? Mainstream history dates the Maya collapse to around 800-900 CE, with cities like Tikal largely abandoned, and theories pointing to drought warfare, overpopulation, or societal breakdown supported by evidence like sediment cores showing dry spells and skeletal remains indicating malnutrition. Yet debates continue into 2025. You're picturing the villagers now, tribes like those at the marketplace, their hands carving stelae under a solstice moon, their chants to chak echoing the ones you joined during the drought. But what broke them? Some scholars like Mara argue drought drained their cenotes as you felt into Tikal's parched plaza, while others point to warfare, like the battle you survived, citing mass graves at sites like Kangshwan. You lean against a fallen stela, its weight grounding you, and wonder how a civilization so grand could fade. Picture tracing the maze glyph with your finger. How does its ancient clay feel? Here's the quirky tidbit some Maya legends claim. The stars dimmed during their decline, a celestial sign of the gods' withdrawal, a tale whispered by modern descendants like Lyra. She's pointing at Venus now, her obsidian blade glinting as she sketches its arc, murmuring. They turned away. Historians still argue whether this was myth or observation. Could stars signal a collapse? But Venus's cycles were less tracked in late stelae, so perhaps Lyra's tale holds a flicker of cosmic grief. You're listening to the scholars, their voices a soft debate under the tent. Mara noting the sediment data you saw unearthed, suggesting drought as the main culprit, while another cites the burned palaces from the warfare you witnessed, proposing conflict as the cause. Its environmental one insists, pointing to a pollen chart, while another counters its societal, holding a replica of Kynich's jaguar glyph. You try piecing it together, but it's like weaving a codex with half the pages torn. The stars above, now vivid. Venus, the Pleiades seem to know their arcs, a silent calendar, echoing Balaam's lessons atop the pyramid. Mara's jade necklace sways as she kneels her notes, a chant-like echo of Ixchel's hymns, tying the debate to the rites you felt. Balaam's wisdom would find a home here, his cacao staff tracing both sky and strife. The debate grows softer, lanterns flickering as a scholar points to a stela fragment with a kayak glyph suggesting overpopulation strained resources as the drought and war compounded the crisis, a theory echoing the desperation of Ixchel's prayer during the storm. You recall the market's fragile peace, the battle's scars and wonder. Was it one cause or all at once? Suddenly, a shooting star streaks across the sky, its arc mirroring Venus's path you traced. In the scholar's pause, Lyra's blade still as she gasps, a sign. The villagers nearby murmur their cotton tunics, catching the twilight glow, as if the Maya themselves whisper through the stars. Mara's voice cuts through. It's all and more. You're caught in the mystery the jungle's hum, a quiet echo of its past. Its collapse, a tapestry of drought, war, and broken bonds. The twilight deepens the pyramid's shadows, merging with the night, and you settle into the grass, the debate lingering like the star's fleeting glow. Was it drought, as the cenote's dryness warned warfare, as the battle showed, or societal strain, as the market hinted? The questions, climate, conflict, collapse blend into the jungle's song. But the Maya's spirit, carried by Kynich's glyphs and Ixchel's chants, shines through, guiding you to wonder. You think back to the dig's unearthed truths, their fragments a partner to this riddle. The stars brighten the jungle's embrace, a steady comfort, and you trust this quest. Mara's steady notes, Lyra's eager awe to unveil the Maya's story, one debated whisper at a time. You're still at the archaeological dig site near Tikal, the muddy clearing beneath your bare feet, now scattered with unearthed clay shards and flint tools, their earthy scent blending with the humid jungle air as the night sky on May 26, 2025, at 11:34 p.m. +07, wraps the ancient pyramids in a starlit indigo. their jaguar glyphs faintly glowing under the celestial light. The air's warm, carrying the faint musk of wet earth and the distant hum of macaws, the archaeologists' lanterns dimming as their debates fade into a gentle murmur. You're sitting on a woven grass mat near a crumbling stela, its Chayak glyph, a silent witness reflecting on the Maya's mysterious disappearance, their pyramids' rituals and collapse, now a tapestry of lessons etched in the jungle's ancient embrace. Can you feel their story settling into your dreams? Mainstream history marks the Maya's classic period from 250 to 900 CE as a pinnacle of achievement, with cities like Tikal boasting pyramids, observatories, and codices, yet their collapse by the 10th century, likely from drought warfare and societal strain, left these wonders to the jungle a mystery unraveled through modern digs since the 1950s, like those you join today. You're gazing at the stela now, its weight a mirror of the pyramid you climbed, its glyphs echoing those you carved with Kinich, their stories of kings, stars, and gods, a testament to Maya ingenuity. The legacy isn't just in the stones, but in the lives they shaped. Ixchel's cacao offerings, Kinich's star glyphs, Balaam's celestial lessons, all revived by Mara and Lyra's careful trowels. You glance up, Venus shining bright, its arc a nod to the paths you've traced from ancient rites to modern debates. Here's the quirky tidbit. Some modern Maya descendants still leave star offerings, small maize tokens at ruins on equinox nights, believing they honor the ancestors' spirits. A tradition Lyra joined tonight, her obsidian blade carving a tiny jaguar. Historians still argue whether this echoes classic rituals or modern folklore. Does maize call the past? But as you sit here on May 26, 2025, at 11:34 p.m., Plezo 7, you're betting Lyra's jaguar, like Kinich's long ago, ties the present to the Maya's timeless spirit, a thread unsevered by time. You're leaning against the stela, its cool surface grounding you, the jungle stretching quiet, save for a macaw's distant cry, its echo, a whisper of the Maya you've come to know. This journey began in Tikal's starlit plaza, its pulse guiding you to the cenote's sacred waters, their flow a lifeline you felt dry up in the drought. You climbed a pyramid with Kinich, traced Venus with Balaam, and joined sacred rites, cacao offerings in the temple, desperate prayers in the storm, each moment revealing the Maya's brilliance, their astronomy, architecture, and faith, a harmony fractured by drought and war, as you saw in the battle in Tikal's silent fall. Modern digs, like Mara's, unearthed their glyphs, stelae, and stories, a revival echoing the healing at Stonehenge, a testament to human curiosity. Picture holding Lyra's maize jaguar. How does its carved weight anchor you? The archaeologists pack their tools, their voices a soft hum. Mara's jade necklace swaying as she sketches a final glyph, tying her work to Ixchel's chants, while Lyra places her jaguar at the stela's base, her whisper a prayer for the Maya echoing Kinich's offerings. You're struck by the continuity, not just the ruins, but the spirit daring to build, to dream, to endure across centuries. The Maya teach resilience like Ixchel's storm-defying chant, ingenuity like Kinich's star glyphs, and impermanence as their cities fell to the jungle, a lesson as timeless as the canopy above. You think of your own life, the dreams you've chased, the fragility of glory, and feel a kinship with these Maya, their legacy, a reminder to seek wonder even in loss. The night deepens, the pyramid's shadows merging with the dark, and you settle deeper into the grass, the jungle's hum, a gentle lullaby, its scent of earth and orchids, a soft blanket. The stars shine brighter. Venus, the Pleiades, a shooting star. Their light a celestial hymn, echoing the rituals, the battles, the debates under the tent. Let the jungle's embrace cradle you. It's quiet, a promise of rest. The pyramids standing guard, as they have for centuries. Drift now, the world fading your breath, slowing with the night's sigh. Rest in this clearing where history and mystery meet, and let the Maya's legacy carry you into sleep's embrace, a saga of wonder and light. Thank you truly for joining me through every emotion, every turn, every moment of this journey. It's been an adventure, and I'm grateful to share it with you. As we close this tale, I wish you a peaceful evening. May you have a restful night, deep sleep, and dreams filled with wonder and light. Rest well, you've earned it. And when you're ready for the next story, I'll be here waiting to journey with you again. Before you go, if you loved this tale, please leave a like and share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what moved you, surprised you, or lingers with you long after the story ends. Until we meet again, good night, and see you in the next adventure.